Today, my daily reflection goes like this. Um, I was watching one of those shorts that you find on YouTube where somebody has a compilation of TikTok videos where people reacted after being fired or being let go of just not having a job anymore. I looked at those clips and I could see how people vacillate depending on their age, depending on the responsibilities that they have. And that reminds me of the time when that happened to me. I have quit a couple of jobs and I've been fired in a few jobs, to be honest. But I must say, when those things happened when I was a little bit younger, it didn't hurt or it didn't make a dent because I was younger and I didn't have a whole lot of responsibilities. And I just didn't care. I honestly just did not care. I was just so over the jobs. I was just like, you know what, whatever happens, happens. That youthfulness of believing in yourself that, you know what, if this does not work, I can always find something else. Did I struggle? Yes, I did struggle. But the struggle I had back then was different than the struggle I had um, in recent years while when I'm older. I think when I'm older, it was more than just responsibility. It was more like my job had ingrained itself into my personal identity. I've always had this, you know, I there's no year that I can think of when I didn't have a job. So I've always had this attachment, this label to say, my name is so and so, and I am this did in whatever company. And when I was older, and it happened, it felt like somebody took, when you take a sticker off something and you remove the sticker and all of a sudden this thing come move from being brand new to being not new anymore. Except for me, when the job left, I felt new because all of a sudden I was stuck in an environment I did not know. More importantly, I was stuck with the identity that I did not know. I did not know who I was outside of what I did. There were so many things I didn't know about myself. There were so many things I couldn't articulate about myself if they were not attached to a job. I knew Now I know that I am a strong person. I know my strength is within me and I can relate those to the circumstances in my life that I've been through. But before then, I've always known myself to be smart, to be quick-witted, to know how to do stuff, how to catch things fast, how to. That was my pride. My performance was the thing that made my identity valuable because then I was rewarded for that. I had positions. I moved from one company to the other company, and I got paid well. So therefore, that became the nucleus of who I am. Like everything I was centered around this thing that I did, and this thing that gave me value and worth and perspective, and gave me something to look forward to. And I never, for a second in my life, imagined I would have days or a time when I would have to go through life without it. And when it happened, I was in shock. Honestly, I was stuck in a place where I didn't know. It was just a vast open space. To me, it seemed empty because what I was looking for was something that was behind me. I couldn't go back because the environment I left, not only did I not want it anymore, it did not want me anymore. Now I am stuck in this place where I don't think I can carry on in this place. Everywhere I look, I don't see anything I like. I don't see anything I could do. I don't see anything that could fit my personality. I don't see anything I could identify with. This is a feeling of loss. And I want to say that for a long, long time, I used to have these nightmares. I wouldn't call them dreams. They were nightmares where I would just find myself running in an open place. But these open places I would run in, they were like beautiful, lush places, but there'd be nothing inside. I would run and run and run, and I would wake up, I would get out of sleep, almost breathless, because just the feeling of loss and the feeling of not knowing what direction to take. I would wake up with that. And for a very long time, I didn't know why I kept having these dreams until I realized that m- m- inside of me, in my subconsciousness, I know that I feel lost. I feel like I haven't found the thing I'm supposed to pivot to. But more than anything, it wasn't just about finding another job. It was about finding me first. And to my surprise, finding me first took longer than I expected, because in my normal way, I would just, apply for another job, send my CVs everywhere, do the things that I know how to do. And when those things didn't work, I felt defeated. I felt defeated when the things I used to know didn't work. It took me some time to also realize that where I was in a different space. I was working with a different energy. I even felt it in myself that I was the kind of person who I would go to an interview and I wouldn't give two fucks about it. I would just walk into an interview and be my complete self, and tell the people what I know and whatever, and I would just get a job just like that. And when that didn't happen, and the longer it took for me to be in a place where I can say I'm employed again, the less confidence I had, the more doubt settled in me, the more lost I felt. Um, it and when I did find an interview, I was lost in those interviews. Honestly, it was like these people were talking languages I did not understand, and it wasn't just about the questions I was asked. Questions like, tell us more about yourself. Because I was so disassociated with who I am at that time, I didn't even have the language to express who I was at the time. I found myself reaching for the words I used to use when I was in a different space, when I used to know myself. I would have this. I would rattle on this story about this is who I am and blah 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 blah. But those facts were based on who I used to be before. It was never about who I am today. I don't know whether it was the energy or the people that I've seen in those interviews. Just they felt like, okay, I wasn't being honest or something. Anyway, the point is those interviews never went anywhere. I never got those jobs. And it took me a long time for me to bridge the gap between who I used to be and who I am right now.